Side by side. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So how do you feel like you want this door?
Well, I was just sitting here thinking about what was my
What was your?
catalyst for change.
Oh, yeah.
And the story came back to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to talk about that.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, it's the awareness of, I thought that it was in the environment, the geographically moving from Vancouver to the Okanagan had been the reason why I didn't have to take allergy pills and stuff like that, right?
Uh-huh.
And I realized, no, it was because I moved away from my dysfunctional family. Hours. Like, I got a couple of hours away from them.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah,
Life
I
started
had,
changing.
yeah, that's where I started changing. That was the catalyst for change for me because then I didn't need the 5 different kinds of drugs, right? Pharmaceutical drugs to feel like I could function for the day, which I really, truth be known, I wasn't functioning. I was covering up, right, symptomatic stuff, and that's my body's way of saying you can't thrive here, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to talk about
Okay, cool. Um, Go ahead. You want to lead then?
that for the show. All right. So, uh, you know, my journey into coaching has come from the fact that I came from a family of dysfunction, alcoholism, drugs, and so on, drug abuse, drug trafficking, all kinds of stuff. There was all kinds of stuff, crazy, crazy stuff going on in my family that couldn't be talked about, all secret, right? And so nobody functions from truth in my family, and they still don't. I am the person that has busted through that barrier, and it's made a lot of people uncomfortable in my family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, they've gotten used to it to a degree, but it has forced change that they wouldn't otherwise have done on their own. And so I'm at this place now where, like, I raise children too, right? And so I have this family that I've created, and I want a different environment for them. So I had to go about figuring out how to create that for them, right? And all this journey started with, when I was about 19, I went on a bus to go and see a friend hours away, and I left the city of Vancouver, and you know, I overnighted in the Okanagan in this place called Penticton, and I spent one night there, and then I'm like, got back to my hotel room after being out partying with a bunch of people that I didn't know, strangers. And I go back and I'm unpacking to get ready for bed, and I'm like, hey, I didn't take my puffer for my asthma. I didn't take my allergy pills. I didn't, doctor myself up, right, so that I could breathe and function, which is how I was living in the Lower Mainland. And I don't even remember how long that was going on. I know I was diagnosed with asthma at the age of 8, so at least 11 years, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
well over a decade, I was functioning like that. And just the like, there's no question when a child is needing, like, puffers and medication and stuff like that to thrive and go to school and go out and out in the air. Nobody questions that. They just drug you up. And so, anyways,
Mm-hmm.
I was just realizing that the catalyst for change for me was when I went to that place, and then I realized, hey, I breathe better here, so I should move here.
Mm-hmm.
So then I moved, and for years now I've been thinking that it was the geographical change to a new location with cleaner air, right? I thought that that's what did it, but
Mm-hmm.
that's only a part and parcel of it. It's really the fact that I distanced myself from the people in my life, my family of origin, that were downloading garbage into me. These divine, not divine, sorry, I'm non-divine, that non-divine,
Yeah.
their own truths, right? They're what they thought that I should be, right? And I wasn't allowed to be who I was coming here to be.
Mm.
I remember, like, abuse happening, being spanked for doing a can-can dance. I was, 7 or 8 years old, and I was like performing, right? I was just like on stage in the kitchen, and hey, sit down, watch me, right? Like children are. That's how we are, right? When we're children. And I wasn't allowed to do that.
Mm.
And then thanks because of some misguided belief that it was too, adult of a performance or too whatever, too sexual or something, right? And it made an adult uncomfortable. And wow, right? Like
Mm.
it, like that I had to get away from. And then as soon as I started to like be able to lighten up, oh my gosh, no wonder I could breathe and I didn't need anything, right? So that it's huge. Emotional change is huge
Mm.
for health and wellness.
Yeah, it's really good. And it's quite a similar story for me too, actually.
Yeah,
Except I didn't physically move away from them. I kind of rebelled in a little bit of a way where I stopped believing everything that they said, and I started seeing that the way that we were living together and the things that they were teaching me, the things that they were feeding me, the things that they were feeding my mind, my soul, were just not working
yes,
because I was just as sick as you too. I couldn't remember a day that I could breathe out of my nose. It
yeah,
would be at like for minutes at a time instead of weeks and months and years at a time, where most people can breathe out of their nose naturally. And I constantly had things falling out of my nose. I was allergies all day long, and hardcore allergies. I would rash up, and this would
yeah,
happen 365 days of the year since I can remember. Um, and it wasn't until really 2011 when I was 22 or 21 that I actually started doing things for myself
yeah,
in a way, like looking up my own information and looking at how to live my life instead of just pinging off my environment. You know what I mean? And my immediate environment was my parents. They were feeding me the same stuff every day. I was just having rice and chicken every day, and like, and really like food was one of the first things that helped me realize that we can change. We can
yeah,
change our bodies, we can change the way that we feel, and there's a certain point where food can it hits a wall, and then you search more. But yeah, it was like I started cooking for myself. I didn't move out of the house, but I was like, Mom, I'm not eating your food anymore.
yeah. How did you take that?
Oh yeah, in an Indian family, not so well.
No.
Heartbroken. Like, no, my son doesn't want me to cook for him anymore. Like, I mean, she was very supportive, to be honest. She was excited that I wanted to learn how to cook and everything, but still heartbroken, you can tell.
Yeah.
And I would start buying my own food. I would start cooking my own food, um, and all of my meals, starting at like 21. And when I started noticing that change, I was like, what the hell else is there? And yeah, so that led to life coaching and taking life risks and looking at life as like a journey and as a project and as a science experiment. And at this point, I wasn't very aware of the emotions that were going on. I knew that I was changing, but I knew food was doing it, and I knew that other things were doing it, but I didn't know when or why or what was changing me.
Yeah.
I would just have sad days, and the next day I would be like, "Oh, I feel different now." But I would never like ping that or peg it against me experiencing my sadness or my anger or whatever as the thing that was making me feel different.
Yeah.
I'd go to Peru and I would do ayahuasca and I would, meditate for hours upon hours a day and like burst out crying randomly and have these moments of clarity. And it wasn't until now, which these people are going to experience that we started talking about emotions. I didn't know that it was the emotions that were making the huge change.
Yeah.
You know, And for your story, I like the way that I see it and the way that I interpret it is that you moved away from a home that didn't honor love and truth as the most
Yeah.
important things in anyone's life.
Yeah.
And so you needed to take yourself away from that environment
Yeah.
in order to begin honoring it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just I wasn't even allowed the space to, disagree or question or any of that when I was there either. So
Mm.
it was, they chose religion for their faith-based way of living, but it was hypocritical. Like go to church on Sundays, but the other 6 days of the week, do whatever you want to do that's unloving or otherwise, right?
Mm.
To another human being with no consideration and there was no respect, no love, no consideration. I mean, what people called love, it didn't feel like love to me.
Yeah.
So it sort of fell on it like I almost felt like I was like not interpreting my environment correctly because people were telling me they loved me but then hurting me.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any sense, right? Like I was very confused. And it taught me to not trust my own intuition. And so now when I coach people, I am using my intuition,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I've developed those, like the question-based way of coaching, right, with myself and everything. I use the intuition with my own, feelings, like check-ins, right, and then I intuitively also know or empathically know, where the client is at, and so I try each and every call to meet them where they're at
Yeah.
for that day. Because, like you said, one day we'll wake up and we're just like teary for no reason, very emotional. Or the next day we'll wake up and we're angry, right? Like
Mm.
raging at the world. And where does that come from?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I believe that's stirred up emotion. It's trapped inside of us that needs to be released. And it's our body, mind, and soul trying to purge, right?
Mm.
Get that crap out. It's detoxifying, us. And when I start with a client, oftentimes, like you, I start with the food, right? We do the health history, right? Find out what you're eating, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? And write down, the main issues, right? Health issues. And oftentimes I gravitate them from starting with drinking more water to maybe adding green food or whatever, or something new. Try this, try that. Not taking anything away from their actual diet, but I almost always, within the first 2 or 3 sessions, get going on the emotion. We always need to tap into that. And then they start feeling for themselves that they're lightening up, right?
Mm.
And that they're feeling different in their body and that they're starting to understand that they're feeling in something, right?
Mm.
Something's different. They start to figure it out, like you were talking about, right? What's different, right? Geez,
Mm.
and they question. And then I get them to that place of allowing themselves to question and explore. And then understanding, maybe they came from a place, a family of origin like I did, where they weren't allowed to question, they weren't allowed to explore. It wasn't safe to do that. Well, in coaching, it can be safe. We provide a safe environment for people to work that out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Most
I'm
definitely.
glad.
I totally agree. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's really what I try to do is try to see that there is a way to get our emotions to come out quicker. There's a systematic approach to make ourselves more sensitive and to release more of the painful emotions that are causing our illnesses, our degradation of our relationships and our bodies. And like we don't have to hope that one day we'll feel it or like have it be random. It's almost like we can have control over how fast we heal. And it's by measuring every aspect of our life against truth with a capital T and love and all these cool things and to desire to become a more loving person will automatically make our life will reveal to us where we've been unloving and that's a very emotional state to be in to realize where we've been sucking. So yeah, there's a systematic approach to doing that and that's what I like to share and that's kind of what I practice with myself. So just
yeah,
sharing what I do anyways.
yeah. Yeah, and like even when I was looking for the right name for my coaching, I came up with Reshape You because it encompasses the whole you, right?
Mm.
Because what I discovered is through my own journey, right? Going when I was 19, I went to a psychiatrist just for my head, right? Shrinking
Yeah.
or whatever, right? Like clear the clutter in the head, right? Thinking that there was something broken there or wrong with me or whatever. It must be, like and there was some truth to that. The way that I was thinking was hurting me. I was suicidal, right? Those were not good thoughts, but I didn't have any relief. The first thing he did was put me on 3 months, or well, 3 months prescription of antidepressant or something, and I was a zombie. I
Wow.
didn't function. You know, I didn't feel my feelings. How how do you progress working on your trapped emotion when you don't even know you have trapped emotion?
Yeah.
You're not working on that. You're working on visualization and popping a pill.
Yeah.
It didn't work for me, and so I was still sick. And when I left his office, I didn't feel changed. I was miserable. So then I went on to look for something else. What's the next thing? And I remember being like going from um, holistic modality to this one and that one and trying different things energetically even from the 90s. And they would always like to scratch the surface and I would have a little bit of relief, but I could never pinpoint what was
Mm.
different. I just felt a little bit better, right? Almost like an emotional bubble came out in Reiki, for example, and then it got trapped in my throat chakra, and the next thing you know, I've got this really awful sore throat for days,
Mm.
and tears welling up behind my eyes, and the pressure between here and here was just immense, and I
Mm.
didn't know what was wrong with me. And she just said, you're not speaking your truth. Well, what does that mean? So now I had to go on a journey of what does speaking your truth, right? What's
Yeah.
that all about? And it's like crazy. So I'm telling you, Samir, it was like 25 years of self-discovery and exploration and trying this and trying that and spending money and taking courses. And wow, like, coming to where I'm at now, had I met you or, like bumped into you in a course earlier, right? 4 years earlier or something like that, I could have gotten this boat floating a lot faster. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so yeah, like um, when I went back, I also remember this one other thing. When I went back to a doctor a couple of years ago, because I had problems. I talked about my ulcers and stuff from childhood, right, from the age of 7. And I went back because I had had so much pain, and I kept going back, and they couldn't find anything wrong, and this test and that, poke and prod and exploration. And so she was starting to like really like look into my eyes to see if I was drug addicted or something. It must be on, right? And she's trying to figure me out. And she was sort of kind of right. It is in my head because it was the way that I was viewing the world. My perceptions were hurting me still, right? And part of it was even thinking that there was something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I just
Mm.
needed to uh, let go of stuff inside that I hadn't. Deal with, look at it, right? Release it.
Yeah.
Um, accept it about myself, those broken parts. And so, anyways, when we were going through IIN, through that, and that was a bit of the catalyst to change for me as well, right? And then you and I met
Mm.
and started working together and so on. Um, as I got healthier and that pain went away, and I didn't need to, like, I went for follow up. I didn't need to keep going and going and going weekly. So I went for this follow up, and I'm like, yeah, it's gone. I don't need, you gave me that prescription. I filled it, but I never took them. She's like, what do you mean you never took them? Like, what happened? Can you explain it to me? And I couldn't explain it at the time, but now I can. Like, I'd love to go back, but I already know that she wouldn't believe me even if I told her,
Mm-hmm.
because so many people are trained not to believe that it's as simple as that. Like, energetically, we really do need to release, okay? Process what's inside, release it, give it over, ask for God to, assist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like getting freaking honest.
Yeah.
It's dropping down and getting freaking honest.
Yes.
My life feels like shit.
Yeah.
And no amount of strategizing, no amount of drugs, no amount of money, no amount of anything is going to make that feel better.
Yeah.
Because we just have belief systems inside of us that cannot make us happy.
Yeah.
And we have feelings inside of us that cannot make us happy. You know, it's like we we don't even know it, but we want to all experience joy, happiness, and love. How the hell are we going to do that if we're angry and we don't even know we're angry? If we're fearful and we don't even admit that we're afraid? If we're sad, we don't even admit that we're sad. You know, if we're wrong in what we're doing in our lives and we don't even admit that we're wrong, you know,
Yeah.
we can't do it. We gotta get fucking honest. The whole planet needs to get honest. But really, screw waiting on the planet doing it, you know?
Yeah.
Let's just do it ourselves.
Well, I'm finding too, I don't know if it's true for you, but I'm finding that as I get honest with my crap and, oh, Renee, that wasn't very loving of you. You know what I mean? Like, you can't unring that bell. Ouch, right?
Hmm.
You just, did some damage there. When I start getting real and honest about that, I then emit a different frequency of, forgive me, right? I'm sorry, forgive me, just or gratitude or whatever. Like whenever it comes out of me, people can feel that, right? And if it's not genuine and honest, they can feel that too. They can
Hmm.
feel when it's like not when it's a facade, and and so can I. And then I can't forgive myself if I'm living in facade and putting these blinders on myself. And so I'm finding that I'm attracting people who are in that same space. As I become more honest, I have people in my world that are showing up and being present and being honest. You know what I mean? And not as fearful. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
whereas before I was surrounding myself with people who, you know, bullshit artists. Oh
Yeah,
wow, right?
yeah, for sure.
We all were. We were all trying to bullshit each other.
Yeah, yeah, people who weren't seeking truth as passionately as we are,
Yeah, yeah.
which is
So
okay, obviously, but it's so much more fun to be around people who are searching just as much as you are because it's almost like you could throw a humble party where everyone's learning from everyone,
yeah,
everyone's open to hearing everything, and we get to work through our blocks. We get to be honest. Like
yeah,
this this process can be scary at times, but when you do the scary thing and you confront the thing that's scary and you kind of stand up for peace, you know, so many cool things happen. Like my roommate, I've been having issues with her, and the issues have been that we just have. I've been not setting boundaries for myself because I've been afraid of making confrontation or an argument happen, and because I could tell that she's got some fight in her. You know, she's got a vibe of like, I'm willing to raise my voice if I don't agree with you, type of vibe,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so so my way of dealing with it was, as soon as I would come inside the home, I would shut down. I could feel
yeah.
my whole energy go down, and I would just go
Oh,
straight into my room. It was like a jail cell.
oh,
And this has been happening for about a month. And finally,
mm,
I met this beautiful woman who we became friends, and she would come over and she would tell me like, "Yo, you are so different when you're home. You know, like what's going on? It's definitely between you and your roommate. I could totally tell. It's so obvious. Like you got to deal with that. You know, everything that you've been preaching, you need to freaking act on it. Let's
yeah,
stand up for truth. Like, let people know how you feel around them, how you're experiencing them, and whatnot."
yeah, yeah,
So finally, I mustered up the courage to do it, and I asked her, like, I have some things that I just want to share. I'm hoping that it'll, you know, make our relationship better and whatnot. So we did it, and you know, we did raise our voices at each other, but we both, at the end, heard each other.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I was shaking in fear as I was talking to her.
Uh,
And it was like from the head down. It was like my head was shaking and everything was shaking. And as it was happening, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
yeah, yeah,
Because the whole goal of this emotional process stuff is to start releasing the fear. Because
yes,
the fear is preventing us from becoming more loving people and taking
yes,
action towards love and standing up for truth, you know? Because there's so many people who want to change the world, but like we don't freaking know how because we're freaking scared. You know, we want to
yeah,
bring peace to the world, but we're scared. We want to do this and we're scared. But
yeah.
it's taking actions like that, those small actions in our lives that, like it changes, man. It changes us.
It does. And actually, it's wonderful that you brought that up. So we're going to process right now a little bit.
Cool.
I'm going to be truthful with you about our last session, our last talk. Okay. So, and then this is actually an example in play that people can see.
Yeah. Cool.
How beautiful is that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so towards a couple of times during our last video call, I did the heart at you like I do, and I tell you, gush, right? I love you, right? I just do, right? I could eat you with a spoon. But in all honesty, I felt that you didn't receive it like you usually do. It was almost like that, put the brakes on.
Mm.
Whoa, don't go there. I could feel it coming off of you. And you talking about that beautiful woman that is now in your world, it sort of opened my awareness to, oh, okay, maybe she'll see this and misinterpret fear
Mm.
coming off of you.
Mm.
And so I just wanted to put it out there that when I say that, when I gush all over you, you're like my little brother, right? And I'm just like loving on you like that. Like
Mm.
I'm so like pleased to have you in my world. I appreciate the heck out of you. When I gush on you, it is not from a romantic,
Mm.
jump your bones kind of
Yeah.
way, right?
Yeah.
And, like I teased you when we were doing like honest opinions of each other's sites or whatever, and you wanted my opinion on your pictures and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, eye candy, you're so distracting, right?
Yeah.
Like, right? And so you changed your picture, and so like we can talk like that with each other,
Most
right?
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
and this is going to be great because usually what happens when we share something like that is we find out more of the truth. So
yeah,
your experience may not be exactly what I was experiencing.
yeah.
And that's what would happen with my roommate too, is in the way I experienced that, so uh, is is I took it as sincere
Okay.
and it confronted me.
Oh,
It
okay.
was uncomfortable to let it in because I'm totally aware of like how uncomfortable it is for me to be seen and to be appreciated. It's not something I'm used to. Not something that I experienced when I grew up, and it's been the theme of the past month. My friend made me aware of it about a month ago, and like slowly, layer by layer,
Yeah,
like trying to get more comfortable with it. So not only could I not let it in, but if
yeah.
when people watch the video, they'll see that like I couldn't even give back.
No,
There
yeah,
was
you're on.
it was so hard. Like I wanted to. I noticed it all in the moment. I was like, oh, here it is. I'm not even gonna say something back. I'm not even gonna say something back. I know I'm gonna end this call and not say anything back.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was and yeah. I mean, and the woman thing too. We actually ended up just staying friends. So there isn't even that romantic thing. Well, there somewhat is, but anyways, that's another story. But no, I totally recognize that you are just sharing your love as a sister and brother, but it confronted me.
Ah, oh, okay. Well, see, beautiful. Like, and how safe and honest and like easy we did that, right? There is no like, man, I'm not gonna come from the place of, dude, that really hurt. Ow, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm not gonna make you feel guilt or shame or whatever, because how unloving is that,
Mm,
right?
mm,
I'm just going to be honest with what my observation. I'm just going to come from the place of observer,
yep.
and really, when we come from that place of observer, there is no attachments needed. There is no entanglement needed, right? It's just a beautiful flow of words,
Yeah.
and we're just giving each other the openness and the space to talk about what we observe.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Mm.
I love that. It's so easy. I wish the rest of the world could talk like that.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah.
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 It is good.
Yeah.
Cool. So what can people expect? Because this is the first part.
Yes.
Like really what we did is yesterday we did a call and we kind of just jumped right into it. And then at night we were kind of like, dude, we didn't even do like an intro, like let people, prepare them for what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And really we kind of did it again. So that's okay.
Yeah. This is our way, right?
It's our
And
way.
that's no judgment.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, screw it.
No judgment.
Yeah,
This is what you get. This is Samir, and
yeah.
this is Renee. You work with us. This is what you get. We just jack our faces off, and my phone always rings.
That's awesome. Cool. So, anything else?
um, just that I really hope that people get that we're not like trying to shove anything. No belief systems. We're not trying to add to the mountain of belief systems people already have entangled up in them. As a matter of fact, it's just that easy, open awareness that there even is that going on in the world. That's all we want to like. We just want to shine some light in the dark corners
Yeah,
and lighten people up. And like, realize that we have this one life here in a physical form. Why not enjoy it while we're here? Why can't it be just ease and grace and joy and right?
hmm Why
So
can't we
that's
experience growth? Why do we have to wait for our next
yeah,
life,
and there's that too. Why wait until like heaven? You know what I mean? Where is heaven? It's we can create heaven right here, right now.
hmm
I'd like that message to be out there.
hmm For sure. I like it. Cool.
Hmm.
Here, I'm doing it back.
Thank you.
Much love. No, and I do have so much appreciation for you, Renee.
Yeah.
We've been meeting for a really long time, and you've been a great mirror for me as well. I know the relationship at first was me coaching you, but like there was a moment there where there was just like, dude, we're equals in our own ways, and we have things to teach each other, and it's become a really fun relationship back and forth. You've helped me see so many of my insecurities. You would do what we just did, where you'd share your feelings about how you experienced me, and it would always bring up something for me, and that I would work on for a week, and it would change the rest of my eternity from that moment on. Like the way I would relate to a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And there's that too, like, same thing. You're a great mirror for me because it's like you're saying when I was doing that online dating crap, right?
Yeah,
Like, oh, that is just so not good for me.
yeah,
But yeah, you were like, what are you doing? Like, you're attracting a lot of, there's a law of attraction going on there, right? Look at that.
yeah,
Hello,
yeah, yeah,
right? And so you're a good mirror for me, getting me to question and see, right? And I have such peace in that area now. It doesn't matter to me when. I just know, like I have faith that there is my other half, right? My male counterparts out there, and when it's right time, right place, and to be honest, I still have some crap in there that needs to come out. I don't think that he needs to show up right now because he wouldn't really like every part of me. There's some dark stuff still down in there festering up, right?
hmm
And parts of me where I'm very unloving with myself. And my self-talk is not so nice stuff, right? So, yeah, I think it would be lighter and easier and be more loving if I allow myself that time to work that out, right?
yeah,
And release.
for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
I'll be a
And
better
yeah, and you're
partner.
learning the process of being happy without a significant other as well. And when that happens, when they come into your life, they're gonna be blown away because Like, you don't have as many addictions, you don't have as much anger, and they may be in a bad place, and you could
Yes.
be their space and to grow themselves, and you'll be
Yes.
unwavered by their condition, you'll be able to have space for love for them, and it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually that way even now, like, dating, the last person, I allowed for that space and whatnot. And I have people telling me all the time, even clients, whatever, that I'm like no one else they've ever met, because I do drop judgment. You know what I mean? Like, it's not there, and it's lighter, easier, less judgmental. I just I allow for them to have that space. I think I'm kind of like babbling, but yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have all the words for it right now. I don't
No,
think.
no, we won't.
Yeah, yeah,
We only have the words for the things that we've experienced, because we don't really know why we don't have a significant other right now. So,
yeah.
we don't know what's in the way, but at least we have faith that we'll, as we desire to want to have a relationship with ourselves and to grow in that and a relationship with God, uh, that these things will reveal themselves.
Hmm.
Dude, there's no way that we were made to have a partner. So if we don't have one, there's injuries involved.
Yes,
you know?
yes, yeah.
Most definitely. At least that's what I believe. That's going to be confronting to some people. Like, no, I'm asexual. Well, that's okay too, but I think there's some injuries there too. Like, you know, that's another
Yeah,
conversation though.
yeah, exactly. Another call.
That's another call, I know.
Yeah.
Cool. I actually feel like this is a standalone. We might as well just release this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll think. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yak, yak, yak. Business run.
Yeah.
Business talk. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I hope everyone has a fucking fantastic day.
Yeah.
Feel them feels is what I like to say these days. Me and my friends say.
Feel those feels.
Feel them
Oh, I love
feels.
that. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna run with that one.
Yeah.
Feel those feels. Yeah,
Feel
yeah.
those feels. Just feel. Just spend some time and feel your life. It's freaking fun.
Yeah, my day is already shaping up to be a really fun one. I'm going to a client's house to clean her place today and give some love on her that way.
Nice.
And she's on an oxygen tank, and so she's just the cutest little thing. And I just love going there. All the stories, and she shows me pictures from way back in the early 1900s, whatever, right? Like, it's just a. So I'm gonna go get some love on me and love on her. And then my girlfriend out of the blue, and her baby.
Nice.
She's about a year and a half old now. We're gonna go and have a lunch date. So yeah, so it's
Sweet. Good stuff.
very exciting.
All right. Well, have a good one then. Enjoy it.
You
All right, I'll send this over to you. Bye, Renee.
bye. Bye.